I want to talk a little bit about self-sabotage, our blockages, what stops us and what seems to hold us back. So I just told you that you're not broken, you're whole, you're good, but yet you're like, well, I still have all this limiting beliefs and I still have the problems, they're not gone. Okay, well, let's just take a deep breath there and hold on. So all these perceived problems that we have are based on our limiting beliefs and patterns and stories that we have. And those limiting beliefs and patterns and stories come from our past. And they keep running. They seem to always be running. And it's like, it might be unconscious. You know, so much self-sabotage is about unconscious thought loops that are running in the background. So what's pretty cool is that the past does not exist any longer. And I know you know that on a logical level, but I really want to bring that home. The past does not exist. All you have right now is the present moment. So when you've got an issue from the past that seems to be affecting your present, you can't go back to the past to fix it. That doesn't exist. What does exist, however, is you may be carrying with you through time thoughts from the past that existed then, from your experiences. It's not good or bad, it's just how we experience a memory. We just pull up, it's like pull up from the database and just run it in front of our consciousness. It will happen. Actually, we don't do it. We don't create that. We don't do that. It happens. So as we replay this thought, we can be full of the emotion and everything that you experienced back then. That's what trauma does. It brings up the thoughts from the past and we re-experience that. You're not actually going back to the past. You are still here right now. And that's a really big difference between regular EFT and Ultra, is that we work, I don't even know if I'd call it work, we try to shine awareness about what's really happening in the present moment, because that's all we have to deal with. We can't work on it in the future. We can't work on it in the past. It's here now. It's here now. It's the thoughts that are here now that we need to look at or see the truth of. A lot of the things that we consider blockages or self-sabotage that tend to create those, I always call them automatic thought loops that are running in the background. They're often created by decisions and conclusions that we made when we were young. And this is a really important piece of the work that I do with people, is to bring awareness to that. So things happen all through our childhood. And a really big MO in life is to stay safe and to feel secure. So we're trying to make sense of the world as we're growing up, and depending on what happened, what experiences you had, if you were exposed to something, whether someone told you something or you lived through an experience and had to figure out how you were feeling and how to cope with it, we all did, you drew conclusions and made decisions based on those experiences. Now, this might have happened when you were 2, when you were 5, when you were a month old, when you were 15. You drew a conclusion, you made a decision about yourself, the world, other people, women, men, whatever it was. And those decisions and conclusions may be things like, I'm not enough, or I have to try really hard, I have to prove myself, or I have to people please, or I have to be the one to help everyone else first in order to be loved, in order to be seen, or I need to perform if I want attention. Whatever those beliefs are, there's infinite number of beliefs that happen that are formed when we're children. They're usually pretty early too. Now, that's a conclusion or a decision that was drawn as a child in response to a situation. So let's say that a father leaves, just disappears, and the children are left feeling like it's their fault, which so many children do. Children of divorce, children of traumatic situations they feel that it's somehow their fault. Kids are naturally prone to do that because they're kind of self-centered, those children. We all were. But that doesn't make it true. As an adult, you can see that's really not true. It was never the child's fault. We know that as adults, but in our child brain that's not fully developed, we made a conclusion that somehow it was our fault, let's say. Well, not true, and carried through life the rest of their lives. And then replayed out over and over again because the thinking would always be there. So if this happened to a child, then they may find that they have a series of relationships where the boyfriend leaves or something like that. So that can keep playing out, and then you feel like, well, I have evidence now because I've actually had this experience over and over and over. It doesn't make it more true. It just means that those thoughts have been playing all that time. So when we can start to see that those old conclusions and decisions are no longer serving us and that they were never true, something can really start to happen. And even I'm hoping that even just hearing that right now, that you may start to revisit some of these things that you take as givens, as true, those limiting beliefs that aren't serving you at all, to start to see if you can dissolve them by seeing the truth that they were never true, they were made up, they were conclusions and decisions made to keep you safe when you were little. But you don't need those anymore, they're not true anymore. Another interesting thing about thinking is that when we start to analyze our thinking and we're trying to solve our problems, all that really does is create more thinking about our thinking. So it's kind of doesn't ever resolve it. So analyzing things, trying to solve problems with more thought does not solve a problem. So have you ever had this happen, where you're in the middle of a problem or situation where you need to figure something out, and you're trying and you're trying and you're trying. I mean, I've done it a gazillion times, because our brains want to analyze, our brains want to figure it out. It's just what they do. They're these very fabulous computers, and sometimes they do come up with some good logical things, don't get me wrong, but those really sticky ones, how often have you found in life that it's when you put it aside? It's when you hop in the shower. It's when you go to sleep and you wake up with a solution. So how we operate is that we have this kind of realm of thought. We've got the old thoughts playing. We've got, thought flowing in and out. As we dive into this understanding more and more, and as I mentioned before, there's more space. There's more mental space that starts to happen as some of the old thinking falls away when we see we don't have to engage with it so much. The possibility for new thought dropping in comes. And that new thought, that solution that comes to you that you never thought of before, that's new thought. That's the greater mind giving you a solution. That's your own inner wisdom coming through and giving you a gift of new thought, new solutions, new possibilities. That's creativity. That's just pure, limitless awesomeness. And so more and more of that has space to come in when we aren't engaged in that haze of thought as much. And again, we can't stop that. We aren't in control of the thought. It's the relationship to the thought that I'm kind of pointing towards. And as we begin to see that more and more, as we let go of trying to analyze, trying to solve, trying to control our thinking, the more we can have a different relationship with that and let it go, more and more of that intelligence, that creative intelligence, comes through. It's really very cool.